Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. This is your host Yoshino, and you are listening to episode 126 of ours Decoded with photographer Marie Tomanova. This podcast was recorded just a few days ago on Thursday, August 8th, and it was actually the first time that I met Marie in person, and she was at our space at No Wave shooting a cover for the magazine called Decoded, which is run and owned by our mutual friend, Ash Owens. And we were able to talk about her newest book, Young American, and her solo show coming up in Tokyo at SO1 Gallery in Shibuya, opening on August 19th. Marie just has this infectious energy to her, and it really resonates within all of her photographs, especially in her book, Young American, which is a beautiful showcase of her portraiture and her interactions with her subjects. So definitely go check that out. And also, before I forget, please leave us a review on iTunes. Every review counts, and it helps reviewers just like yourself to hear about this podcast. So here it is, without further ado, my interview with Marie Tomanova for ours Decoded. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for doing this on such short notice.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to ask you over Instagram, but then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to see you tomorrow. So is there even a point?
Perfect timing, you know? I'm in LA, nothing else to do, and this is great.
Yeah. How did the shoot go with, can I say who it was with? Or can I not say it?
I guess I don't think we can say it yet until it's out.
Oh, that's even so much more mysterious. Anyway, so Marie was doing a shoot with someone that we don't have to talk about. And how was the shoot?
It's great. It was actually really great. And it's going to be my first cover ever. And I'm super excited that this beautiful person is going to be on my first cover.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah. I think it went really well. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting seeing the way that like the energy of people, and I felt like immediately when you walked in the door, you just have such a warm and inviting energy, you know. And
you're so sweet. Thank you.
No. I mean, you do, you know. And I just think, it's good. And I think like those are the kind of people that I like hanging out with the most.
Oh, that's sweet.
But.
I guess I love people. I like being with people. And actually today there was a really amazing team of, kids who I met everybody for the first time except Ash. And it was really nice, and it's great if you can work with people who are great, that makes everything much easier.
Yeah.
And it's all about the energy on the set to, a certain extent. And it drives the shoot, so yeah. Yeah,
no, for sure. And I think like, especially on a photo shoot, it always comes from the top down, so the photographer is generally like at the top of the food chain on a photo shoot, right? And I think like being aware of that energy and the way that you present that energy to other people, it resonates,
That's sweet. See, I never was really aware of it or like aware of the energy that I have, I guess, even just that we're talking about it this way. But since I got the book out and Ryan wrote such a beautiful introduction for it.
Yeah, Ryan McGinley, just for those
my
listening.
Hero. So, and then Thomas Beachdale, who edited the book, and everybody just keeps telling me that the energy is great and that it's about the energy and that one of the biggest assets of photographer is, of course, the skills, right? But also just what kind of person you are and how well you can connect with the people that you photograph, because that's essentially the whole essence of it. And then I was like, paying more attention to it, and I was like, I guess that's good. I'm so glad I have this, because I guess it makes my life so much easier in this way.
Definitely.
I studied to be a painter, so I'm originally a painter. I don't paint anymore because I hated my school and it just kind of didn't went down the way that it should have. But thank God I didn't end up that way. I would be just sitting alone painting. It's a very lonely job to be a painter. You just sit alone with a painting. And I love people. I love interacting with people. So photography is just the perfect thing for me, I guess.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm curious because, obviously today is the first day that we're meeting. And like, what was your entry point into photography? And then also, what was your entry point into painting and the arts and everything like that?
So I studied, I'm from a really small town in Czech Republic. And I went to middle school there, which we called gymnasium. My partner always makes fun of me that it's gymnasium, like the gym, but whatever. We call it gymnasium, basically. It's for 8 years, and it makes you ready to go to a college. Basically, you take, all the subjects, and it gets you ready for go to whatever university you want to. And the only thing I was really good at was like drawing and scribbling in my notepad instead of doing all the other stuff I was supposed to do. So I wanted to be an artist, and I wanted to do something creative. And I didn't really know what options there are. And there are about 3 or 4 really top art schools in Czech Republic, where usually they take 2 or 3 kids a year only. So it's very selective. And I just never had the self-esteem or I just never thought I'm going to get in, So I applied to go to, I studied art to be a teacher, like at teaching, like how do you call it? I don't know what you call it.
Like
to
a professor?
Basically teach art, So to be a teacher of art for my bachelor's. And then I somehow just got the courage and applied to the art school to painting for my master's, and I got in, which was great. But I kind of, I don't know if I ever got really introduced to painting. I just always wanted to do it. So I went for my master's, and it just didn't go well. I never was like encouraged by the professor. All the girls were always doing shit. Basically, only the guys were doing great stuff, which totally sucked. And I never felt like I was successful, or not even successful. I never felt like I was doing good stuff as a painter, only because the only person I trusted was my professor, who basically just hated girls and never gave credit to girls. So it was all messed up. And I didn't really realize how messed up it was until I came to the United States. So after I finished my master's, I didn't really feel like there are any opportunities to do art in Czech. Plus also, the market, it's all very small. It's like, small pond. And I left the United States as au pair because I basically had no idea what to do with my life.
Oh, so you came to the United States as an au pair, and I think which city?
I ended up in North Carolina, in Greensboro, which was lovely. And I thought that everything was big. The highways are huge. We don't have anything like that in Czech, you know. So many, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. And the coffee is huge. Everything is huge, basically. Yeah. And everything, I thought everything was fast.
Yeah.
And then I got to New York. I moved to New York the next year as an au pair. I was like, okay, this is fast. Thank God I didn't move straight to New York. I might not have lasted.
Oh, wow.
It might have been too much of a culture shock for me. But North Carolina was great. I did a lot of writing and just trying to find myself, which I think it really worked in that way because I basically didn't know anybody there. So coming from a really small town in Czech Republic, it just kind of feels like you are with the same people over and over. Everybody knows you. Everybody has you in certain boxes, and that's where you are. And you are this parent's kid, and you're just basically you don't have any room to experiment or try to be somebody else because nobody else would really accept it because they know you a certain way, and that's it. Right?
How old were you when you left the Czech Republic?
26.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was 26 when I left, and
wow, so that's quite a formidable time for you.
Yeah, it was right after I finished school. I finished, a few months after I finished, I just left. Yeah. And I've never really spent much time anywhere else. I would travel, but not that I would go away for a year or so, only a few weeks, maybe a month too. Yeah. So it was a big life change, and just basically leaving and going to a place where I didn't know anybody, didn't know, I just I walked in the store with food, right? Groceries. And I didn't know what to buy because I didn't know what's in the boxes. I didn't know how it tasted. We don't have any of the same products in Czech. Yeah. It changed a little bit nowadays, but I was just walking around the store thinking what am I going to buy? How is it going to taste? It's a lot of exploring on all sorts of levels.
So did you just have to go off the pictures basically?
Huh?
Did you guys have to go off the pictures off of the
what I saw on the box?
box?
Yeah, and I was just like, you know, basically trying stuff out, and so many kinds of cereal, for example. I've never seen that before.
So yeah, I mean that's like a whole nother. That's
I
like a whole
know.
nother conversation. Like I feel like I'm curious now. So like, what was the weirdest thing that you ate?
Oh my God. See, I'm not really picky with food. So, and I love to taste new things. So for me, it was just a joy trying new stuff, right? But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It was just like corn dogs. I was like, what is that?
Yeah, you're like, what is this?
Like, and it tasted good. I liked it. But then even just like so many kinds of ice cream. You know, I was born when it was still communism in Czech, and we had like, you know, and it got better, of course, later on, but we never had so many kinds of ice cream, you know, so many flavors, whatever. This is just totally off the topic.
No. No, it's fine. I mean, because, I think it's interesting going to another country. I mean, I've traveled quite a bit, and, going to a country where, like I went to Vietnam, for instance, and I don't know how to speak Vietnamese or read Vietnamese, so I would just have to point to things on the menu and
hope that something that you like will come, right?
Yeah, actually, you know what's a really funny story is, so me and my best friend, we were at a bus stop in Vietnam, and we were going to go from one city to another city, and they have these sort of like long buses that you go on, like 24-hour buses, and so right before we hopped on, we were like, we haven't had dinner, we were super hungry. And we saw this lady, and she was making boiled eggs, right? And we walked up, and we're like, okay, we're going to have a boiled egg. And so she cracks open this boiled egg, and there's feathers.
Oh, no.
And it's a little
my God.
chick fetus.
Oh, my
chick
God.
Fetus.
And that's what they eat? I guess different culture, right?
Yeah, it's I think it's called balut.
Oh, wow.
Or at least the Filipino culture calls it balut. But and
that would freak me out.
Yeah, it freaked both of us out. I remember just seeing it, and I was like,
there are certain things I can't eat.
Yeah, but actually, so anyways, we tried it, and
was it good?
I thought it was actually not bad, but he thought it was horrible. He said it's what I would think if someone were to say, what does a cat taste like?
Aww.
But I thought it kind of tastes like chicken noodle soup or something. It was very strange. It was very, very strange. Anyways.
I would not be able to eat that.
Yeah. Anyways, totally veering off any subject on art. I guess, art, food, art is life. Anyways, but
totally.
So I'm curious, like, okay, so you had that entry point into the art world, getting your MFA, or your master's in art, but then what drew you to photography? Where did you start experimenting with photography?
So I was kind of just like totally disappointed with painting. So that was one chapter over, and I was trying to figure out what's the next thing to do, because I always wanted to be creative and just like, you need to just get stuff out. I mean, that's kind of way of just you know, communicating and stuff. So I did a lot of writing, writing in North Carolina, because I guess it really helped me to go through the change and just the new environment and everything.
Yeah.
And then when I moved upstate New York for my second year as au pair, because you can do it 2 years, so I did 2 years, I kept coming to the city on the weekends, which was fun. That was like totally like, wow. And the only place I knew of was Metropolitan Museum, where you could go for $1. And I just wanted to see all these paintings that I always saw in the magazines or in the classroom at school, but I've never actually seen them live, you know? So it's like amazing for me to see these in real life. Some of them are really disappointing in real life, by the way. I always thought, for example, not that I love Dali, but I thought that the Dali, the clock, dripping clock, that it's huge. And it's like this tiny.
Oh, yeah. It's
there's a lot of things that
really
are
small.
Very different in real life.
Yeah. I think that, paintings and artwork could go both ways. It could be more impressive in real life
It's
or
true.
less impressive,
It's true.
depending
yeah.
on.
And I love seeing Matisse. His big paintings just are amazing, much better than like reproductions in the magazines.
Yeah.
But I went to Metropolitan Museum, and on the weekend, the second week, I was in New York, and actually that's how I met my husband, because I met him there. So
wait, I feel like you wanted to go into the story. Go into it. How did you meet him?
Well, my side of the story is that I was standing in front of my favorite painting from Gauguin, and he in the Metropolitan Museum, and he said hi. And I looked at him, and he is like a professor of art history, so he was like in a button-up jacket, button-up shirt, very serious look with glasses, right? And I always dated these bohemian losers artists, so he was totally not my type. And I was like, hi, whatever. So then he was like, all right, I'm just going to leave her. And he left. And I saw him a little bit later walking through the museum with a group of people giving a talk, which I was, wow, I've seen this on Sex in the City when Charlotte gives a talk through the museum. I'm going to join. And he let me, which was amazing because, I guess normally you have to pay for it. So, and he was so amazing and passionate about art. And I just kept taking notes the whole time. And I was just impressed and totally swept. So, I'm sure it was all intentional. He knew what he was doing. But at the end of the talk, I asked him for a phone number. Yeah. And we went to a gallery every weekend since, because I always kept coming to the city on the weekends, and we would go to see different shows. And the first show he took me to was at the Guggenheim, and there was the show of Francesca Woodman, which is when I saw her work for the first time. It was in 2012. It was amazing. And what I loved about it was that they had a lot of her journals there, lots of her writing, personal writing. And that really resonated with me. And I realized that, that together with the photography was what I really want to do. And, I was like, why have I never tried photography? So I signed up for classes at School of Visual Arts for like evening classes of just basic photography because I didn't know anything really, and I've been taking pictures since, and it kind of all worked out. But,
awesome.
If I would not go on that first date to Guggenheim, I might not have started photography. I guess. I mean, it's totally possible. You know?
Wow.
So it all worked out.
That's incredible. Wow. It
was meant to be.
Yeah. I really feel that way about certain instances when I look back at it in life, that certain people you meet, and it could just be, the situation could have been reversed to where you don't talk to that person, but because you talk to that person, it completely changed the course of your life.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think, and there's just something, I mean, whether you call it destiny or what have you, but I don't know, or kismet maybe, I don't know what you would call it, but I feel like there's just certain things that are meant to happen.
Yeah. I totally agree.
As romantic as that might sound. I mean, especially, speaking about your husband, which is clearly like a direct, romantic sort of idea, right? But yeah, and then I guess, and then so you kept on shooting.
So I just kept taking pictures. I shot digital in the beginning, and I was, taking a lot of pictures, and basically I was still being au pair upstate New York. So I had only an hour in the morning to slip out and take pictures, or in the evening. And then whenever they would travel, they would take me with them. So I did a bunch of traveling to California, Arkansas, all over the place, basically.
You kind of have that Vivian Mayer thing going on.
And yeah, it's true.
Except you're actually sharing your photos.
Yeah. And whenever there would be time, I would just go out and, try to take pictures.
Yeah.
And I was doing self-portraiture because I didn't have really anybody around to photograph at that time. And it was, I was kind of also too shy to take pictures of somebody else because I always felt that there is a big responsibility once you point the camera on somebody else. So the first time I went to photograph somebody else, I was so terrified. It was crazy. I almost turned around and was like, I'm not gonna do it, but then I did, it was a great shoot. It worked out amazingly, and since then I just always challenge myself to meet people and photograph people, which, you know, I used to be a really shy person. Like I would not talk to a stranger. Yeah.
Do you think that's because of growing up
in a small town when you know everybody, and who you don't know, you don't talk to, basically, or your parents told all the time, don't talk to strangers, right? I don't know. It's just like very small town mentality. And coming to New York, there's no way you don't talk to strangers. You talk to strangers like, you know, 10 times a day. There's always somebody new. And I think that's also something that I really appreciate about learning through this whole, like, getting to the United States and just, like, you know, challenging yourself and doing things that you're a little bit uncomfortable with, but over time you just get better and better, and it's, you know, it's important to cross your boundaries a little bit, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's really important to be conscious of constantly challenging yourself.
I don't like to get stuck in my comfort zone, basically, you know. It's good to, like, keep pushing it.
Yeah. I guess, is it a conscious thing or is it like an unconscious thing about challenging yourself? Like what is your take on it?
I think one of the things as a child, my dad always used to tell me, you know, he never said I'm the best. He always said, try to be the best or work hard to be the best. But I was never acknowledged as kind of the best. And I think I'm very competitive. I'm the youngest one of 3 kids, all girls. So I'm kind of like, you know, there was always the older sister who was always better at everything because they're 6 and 12 years older than me. So it was hard for me to catch up and feel equal. But I think it made me very competitive in a certain way, which I think is, I don't know, it's something that drives me going forward in a way. I hope it's a good thing. I don't know, you know, I guess
I think
in Czech they still look at, you know, ambitious women a little bit too through the fingers, like, you know, you are too, I mean, it's like still,
kind of like what
still, it's Czech is not anywhere close to where United States are on equality with, like, you know, all the, like, women rights and all of that. It's still a little bit, it's still not right over there. It's not that it's here 100% all right, you know, but yeah, they sometimes just, like, judge you for being career driven. I never had a career until I started photography, and I just basically, it's not really about career. It's about doing something that you love, that you're passionate about, and that you enjoy, and that you just want to keep doing and pushing forward because it's something that makes you feel like you grow with it. And I call that career, and that's what photography is for me. And having that and being able to discover that that's that for me was something that really was a liberating moment of, like, you know, really realizing how amazing it feels to do something that you enjoy doing. People think that you do well and respect you for that. You know, when I was in Czech, I was a groupie for this Czech famous singer. And I always thought, back when I was, like, in my 20s, that the only way I can make it is to be somebody's famous wife, you know, because I never saw the chance that I can make it myself as a female, as a girl from a small town. Well, I always thought I need to just be somebody's girlfriend who's famous or who's successful or who's doing, you know, the right thing that, you know, is their career. And it's just so fucking limiting. That should not be that way, you know?
I mean, it seems like through photography you found a certain purpose for your life, and I can tell just by your energy, you know, the way that you carried yourself. You're a happy person.
I love taking pictures and I love meeting people, you know. So switching to portraiture and taking pictures of other people has been something that's just, I love it, you know. It's always challenging because it's always like starting from a square one. It's never like, you know, none of the people are ever the same. So it's always about trying to find a way how to connect with the people who are in front of my camera. And I love that, you know. But, you know, one of the reasons why I moved from North Carolina to New York was also because I saw Ryan McGinley's work on internet. I just saw this photo he shot of a girl holding a wolf, black and white shot. I was like, oh my God, that's so amazing. So I thought I'm going to move to New York and just go to his opening. And, you know, the only way I saw myself valuable in that kind of scenario is that I will get nude at the opening and he will like photograph me. Thank God, I've never done that.
Wait.
No, I've never done that. Thank God. Oh. But I was like, that's what I'm going to do.
I was like, you went nude to his opening? That's amazing. We should run with that story. Let's see what Ryan thinks about that.
Oh, because I was modeling for drawing classes in Czech when I needed extra money. So I was just, modeling nude, and I'm just like, kind of, maybe I'm a little nudist. I don't have problem with nudity.
Wait. Let me clear the story up. Did you show up to his gallery show?
Thank God, because I think some people have done it in the past, and I don't think he really responds well to it. I mean, you don't really want just people getting nude in front of you. It's like, oh my God, come on.
Yeah, I mean.
So no, I didn't do that, but.
That would be an amazing story, though. Anyways.
The only way I saw myself, kind of being able to have any kind of contact with Ryan is to just be a model, which is very, different role than what it ended up being, which is so beyond what I could have even imagined. Is that, I met Ryan the way that we have few friends in common, and I went to his opening. And, and I said hi and talked to him and actually invited him to my show. And he said he will come, which was amazing. And then he did. And we were sitting on the floor together watching. There was a huge projection at the Czech Center New York, which was my first solo show, which was exactly a year ago. So he came to see the show, sat there with me for like 2 hours, just talking about the work, taking pictures. And he was like, yeah, I shot that person and that person. That's amazing. And I was like, oh my God, is this really real? My dream photographer came to see my show as a photographer. And it was so beyond like having certain acknowledgement as an artist. It really is. That's a very precious moment in life if that happens, And then he did photograph me eventually. So I was jumping in his studio for like 20 minutes totally nude, which was fun. With his assistant Luisa, his right hand, and Luisa is amazing, and we just like both danced and jumped around, which was great.
Wow, that's awesome.
And
that's insane.
And then he wrote the introduction for the book, which was just beyond. It's just so great to get such a support from an artist who's so successful and busy, and he doesn't need to do any of this, and he still does support young artists. And it's something that I really, it's just, I wish I want to be once like him and just do that for other people, because it's just so precious. And coming from such a small town, feeling like I never will be a good artist, and then having Ryan's support on this kind of level is just, I mean, come on, American dream, as much as cliche it is, it's just totally American dream. It's like,
Well, speaking of the American dream, I mean, so where did you come up with the title for Young American? Mm-hmm. And I mean, I guess how did that come about, like creating this book?
The title came kind of in a conversation with Thomas Beachdale, who is the curator for the first solo show, and my husband. So we were really like work together in that way really well, which is great. So Thomas was curating the Young American show, and he's been, looking at my photos since the beginning and helping me edit, because what I didn't mention is that my biggest problem on the beginning of the photography journey was that I would shoot like 1,000 images in 3 hours. And I was just like, which one? I just didn't know how to do the edit of the work, because, I was a painter and I painted one painting for a month and then that was it, right? And all of a sudden you end up with 1,000 images in 3 hours. And I'm like, oh my God. So Thomas has been, helping me with the editing and just shaping my work for a long time, which is really great to have somebody who's passionate about your work and from outside, like have the outside view on it is really helpful. And I think, it's very important as a photographer to have somebody like that to just even discuss it with. So in the Young American show, there was all the images were like from 2015, I think are the earliest one, until 2018. And I did a lot of shoots around New York, just like meeting kids, or just at openings and, stuff like just walking around the city, going to parties and constantly taking pictures. And I didn't really know what it's for. You know, there was not really always a purpose, but just like kept shooting. And then there was also lots of editorials I've done. And there would be these close-up portraits that would just not fit in any of these editorials because there would be a whole different kind of feeling and different vibe. And Thomas put all of those together. And I was like, wow, there's like a real like string through the years that there were always like these close portraits with just like something in the eyes, like certain like connection and openness and you know, which that was what it was. And we were thinking what the title should be, and Thomas said, well, Young American. First of all, it was inspired by David Bowie's song, of course, which I love. And then it also has a take on me as, you know, trying to be American and struggling, or I don't know if I'm trying to be American. I'm trying to be American to be able to have the freedom that I need, you know, to be able to travel and all of that. And
Yeah.
I guess I would be a proud American. We'll see. I just went to my best friend's naturalization process, which is like where it's when you get the citizenship. Wow, I got goosebumps. It was really like it's a huge moment, and especially from, you know, people from other places, you know, Eastern Europe, or I'm sure there are other places. Getting to that point is huge. It's a huge moment. You know? We've been all living in. My best friend she's been in New York for like 13 years, and it's just like. It's
It seems like a very appropriate title. I mean, and now that you explain it, it makes sense because, yeah, I mean, you know, you came to the U.S. How many years ago was that?
8
years ago. Yeah. So
2011, beginning of 2008, 8.5.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, your perspective on life in general is being shaped just by the sheer fact of coming to America and figuring out like the viewpoint of American culture and, you know, the positive and negative things, you know, and just understanding that and taking that and kind of, I guess, indoctrinating that into your own like past beliefs and then molding it together into who you are, you know?
And it was, and meeting all these young kids was also a beautiful thing for me to realize that, you know, all of a sudden it felt like I do belong. And for a long time, I felt like a stranger in a strange land in a way, you know, because everything was so new and I just like, you know, didn't really fit in. But it was a big moment at the opening of Young American a year ago, because before that, I was always showing just self-portraiture, which is just me in the picture and, you know, me in front of it, which is really very flat. And doing the Young American show, I was really nervous, because I've never shown these pictures before. Nobody really knew that there is such a body of work, and everybody just knew the self-portraiture. And I wasn't sure how people will receive it, because they're also like very raw images. You know, I do very little retouching or anything. I just, you know, really want to show people the way they are. And that's the beauty in all of these people, you know, for me. And I wasn't sure how necessarily it will go. And it's been amazing. And the most precious moments were at the opening when there were prints on the walls, and then we had a huge projection, which was like 12 or 18, it was feet like wide, really big, and they're all close-up. So you're standing in the gallery space and there are these huge eyes and huge faces staring at you. And it was a loop of 230 photos. It was like a 30-minute loop going through. And it was really amazing to see the kids, when most of them came to the opening, to be so proud and to be so like feeling justified and excited to see their image big and be who they are. And they were all like taking pictures and just like, wow, this is crazy. And it's like, it was amazing to see how they connected with their own image and how it was great to, you know, make them matter in the way they are. And just that was a really important moment for me. And yeah, that was what I loved about it the most in a way.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is whether it be on the curatorial side, you know, or the editing process like afterwards, but I'm sure that you saw a lot of yourself in those images as well, you know? And it's the need. It was, I think what's really showing in the images from my part is the need to feel that I belong, and then
I can make this my home as well. And I kind of, it's kind of like fitting in the society. And it's just like, a lot of it in North Carolina was lonely in a way because I didn't have my close friends here. And in Czech, in the small town, I know my best friends for like 20 years. We were really long. We knew each other since young. We were young, and not knowing anybody all of a sudden was very hard. And language, I didn't feel like I can talk to people. And whenever I met with some cool kids at the party, they were all referencing some movies and music, and I've never seen it, never heard of it. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what they're talking about. So I felt always like lost, and it's just like, okay. It's just like smiling a lot and hoping that that's the good answer.
Yeah. You were just doing the passive nod, like,
yeah,
I know what you're talking about, like giving that sort of facial expression.
Yeah, but beginnings are tough, but that's fine, But it was a precious moment to feel like being a part of, the scene in New York, and they're all like younger kids, they're in their early 20s, and it's amazing to see and listen to their stories. And lots of these kids came from different parts of the United States just to do in New York what they want to do or be who they want to be, and have the option to explore who they want to be, which is all I did coming from Czech Republic and landing in North Carolina and then New York. I guess it was a subconscious need to figure out who I am and what I want to do.
Yeah,
getting out of those like preset boxes of the society in your small town, what they think about you, and coming someplace else and just doing and discovering and, seeing what works.
Yeah, it seems like through photography, you found yourself.
I feel like it. Yeah, it's
photography in a way, or you can see it in a poetic way that photography found you. Going to that Francesca Woodman show. Seeing the journaling. I've actually been to 2 Francesca Woodman shows.
Really?
One at MoMA in
I didn't see that.
San Francisco. Yeah, and one in Amsterdam at Foam.
Wow.
Yeah, it was they were both retrospectives.
Wow. How did you like that?
Oh, it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, Francesca Woodman is amazing.
Yeah, and she did so much great work and died so young. It's pretty crazy how much she managed to do,
Yeah.
It's great.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and sitting down for this conversation. So you have a show in Tokyo coming up in a couple weeks?
Yes, I have a show opening at SO1 Gallery in Tokyo on August 19th. And then a book launch of the Young American book with the last few copies at Daikiana Tsutaya Books in Shibuya in Tokyo as well. That's going to be on the 23rd August. And I'm going to do book signing there too. And after that, I have a talk at Czech Center Tokyo and screening of some of these videos on 28th or 29th. I don't remember. Thursday, of August. So my first time in Tokyo. Can't wait. I'm really excited. I haven't been someplace where I don't understand the language at all for a while. So it's going to be a good challenge, I think.
Oh, it's going to be great. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
Literally anywhere in Japan, even if you go to like a 7-Eleven, their food is good.
Nice. Oh, really? Wow.
The 7-Eleven actually has very
nice,
good edible food.
It feels like in New York, there's nowhere good fruit unless we're like at, farmer's market.
Everywhere.
Great.
In Japan, I think it's just part of the culture too, that everyone takes pride in the thing that they do.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
So even if you go to some random restaurant, generally the food will be excellent.
That's great. Yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah. And I have also a big solo show coming up in Czech Republic in October 22nd in Prague. So at a gallery called Pragovka. So I'm excited. Yeah. It's amazing. Good. Shows. I love doing shows because it's the work is really great for install, and we did recently show in Czech in a old Jesuit convent that's like Baroque building, and in these like beautiful like arches, of the Baroque architecture, we were projecting these big faces. It looked amazing. So I love working with installations and doing shows. It's a fun part of the process.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm excited for you and all the success for you to come. And
thank you. That's so sweet.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks for doing this.
Of course. Great. Right. Thank you for having me.